What up, dude? Alright, good morning, boys and girls. It is currently 5:50 in the morning. Welcome back to Skin and Bones Diving. For those of you who are fresh or newly subscribed, thank you, by the way. So, a little bit of context for those of you who don't know me, though I think as of right now, most of my subscribers are friends and family. My name is Zach. My main job, I'm a firefighter full-time with Panama City Fire Department. But on the side, my other job is I'm a deckhand for Panama City Dive Center. And today I've got to work 2 dive trips back to back. I've got a 7 a.m. and an 11:30. These 2 trips are 4 hours each. They're a 2-tank offshore. And I figured, why not use this as a good opportunity to film a day in the life of a deckhand, what the job entails, and just kind of walking through the steps of what we do in the mornings, getting the boat ready, how we help the customers, what we do when we get to the actual site, tying in the whole ordeal. That way, not only can I show what I actually do for this job, but this video could also be used kind of as a training tool for any future deckhands, whether you're going to be working with Panama City Dive Center or any other dive shop in the area. So we're sitting here at the dock right now, about to get out and kind of walk y'all through the process of what we do when we first get here, getting the boats ready and all that good stuff. So, all right, yeah, let's get to work. All right, guys, we're down the marina. We've got our 3 boats. We've got the Captain Scuba 2, the Reef Runner, and Island Diver. Island Diver is going to be the ones we're going to run both of our trips on today. All right, so Captain Choppy is already down, taking care of the engine. When you get to the boat, there's a few tasks you have to do. Starting with, you want to undo the bow lines to get the boat nice and snug up onto the dock, which, you know, Choppy already took care of all that, so you don't have to worry about that. So it looks like we're running a little low on ice, so the first thing you want to do in the morning is grab some ice. So we're going to make a little run to the dive shop. All right, so here's the thing. We used to have an ice machine down at the fish house, but now the dive shop, we just went ahead and bought our own ice machine. So now every time we get ice, we just have to get these buckets from the boats and just drive over to the dive shop, which works for me because I didn't grab any tanks yesterday. And obviously, if you're gonna be tying into 70-foot wrecks, you're gonna need air tanks. So, which I did not pick up yesterday because I'm lazy and I don't think about the future that often. So we're gonna go run down to the shop, we're gonna get some ice, and we're gonna get some tanks. The door's locked. What up? So I've been doing this so long, I can fly through all 3 buckets of ice. Watch this. Boom. What I say? What I take like 7 seconds? Get out of here. Ain't nobody do it like me. All right, we got ice. Now I just gotta grab my tanks. Obviously, anytime you grab a dive tank for work purposes or recreational, you're gonna want to test it because you do not want to be out 7 miles offshore and realize your tank has a blown O-ring or it's empty. Good enough. All right, back to the docks we go. What up, dog? Appreciate it.
Is this it, or do you want the BC?
No, I got it. This is a different BC. Appreciate it. That's Carter, by the way. That's the man right there, the other deckhand.
Oh, what's up?
So the first thing we always tell the tourists in the morning is check your gear. Make sure you have everything. And I'm gonna do the same thing since I'm gonna be tying in today. Carter and I will be tying in today. All right, so we got 2 buckets. We got a mask bucket and a camera bucket full of fresh water. We got ice. We got trash bags in the trash cans. We are just about ready to start loading tourists up now. You guys sitting on this?
And that fits, so that's all good.
Okay. Here, I got that. I'll take it on free.
Sure.
Run the strap around your back and buckle them in the front. Cindy on the wheel. Guys, life rafts are on top of the wheelhouse as well as the E-bird. Guys, I got mask and camera buckets back on the back. Right there by Zach, we got a fresh water shower as well. Guys, like I say, I'm Choppy. We got Zach. We've got Cartier back there in the back, guys. Your mates, they do primarily work for tips. So if they help you out, show you a good time, save your life for any expensive time here, please take care of them. As we pull out of the dock, guys, make sure you don't have any gear inside the handrail. So my name's Carter, the other guy working with me, Zach. We're gonna be running the rigging for y'all. We've got a couple of things to go over and secure your plan with your dive buddy. The railing on each side of the gate and stick your foot back. We're gonna check your air, follow that no swim line down to the anchor line. A couple things to look out for. If a current starts to pick up and you get swept off the wreck, if you aren't going to be able to, start a nice controlled descent. When you get down to 1,000 PSI, we ask you guys to be back at our anchor line. That way you can start your ascent. And then that's all we pretty much have for you guys. Please get with me and Zach and we'll get you squared away.
All right. We're going to the Red Sea for our first spot. Actually, I lied. We're going to the Red Sea for our only spot. The dive group that we're with today wants to stick to one spot for their students, which, you know, is understandable. So I'm going to tie in once we get there. Well, let me say this. I'm going to give us a 10-minute warning once we're about 1 nautical mile out from the spot. While everybody's getting ready, I'm going to get ready. I'll get all my stuff on. I'll go down and I'll tie us into the right, and then we'll help all the tourists, and you'll see.
Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl.
Great. Wherever you go, just make sure you're on one end of it.
I got you.
Alright guys, so I'm going to try to keep this clip unedited just so I can show you how fast this process truly is. So on one hand I've got my chain, and the other hand I'm holding my nose and I'm equalizing the entire way down because you're sinking like a rock. Choppy put me right on top of the wreck, but there was a little bit of current, so it pulled me just off a little bit where I had to work a little bit to get back onto the wreck so I can tie into the bow. And like I said guys, this process is very quick. You need to tie in as fast as possible before the boat starts to pull, because Choppy's trying to keep it stable up on top for me, but you know, he's fighting the waves. He can only do it for so long. So I got in a good spot on the bow. I take my chain, throw it over, and I start giving it a couple good wraps. You want to be extremely careful with your hand placement. You want to move this chain like you're scared of it, because if your hand gets caught underneath that and that boat pulls tight, it's the weight of that boat versus your flesh, and I guarantee you that's not a fight you're gonna win. So watch this, guys. As soon as I give it a couple of good wraps, I'm going to take the carabiner, I'm going to clip it onto the chain itself, and look, as soon as I'm done, that boat is already pulling it tight. That's how fast this process is. Once it starts to pull, you kind of want to back off a little bit, just in case that the spot you tied into gives way, because these wrecks are really old. You don't know how rusted and corroded, deteriorated they are. So once it's done, I kind of back off. You want to stay down on the bottom until you hear the engines cut out. Once I hear the engines cut out, I know that I'm safe to start going back up. And you know, once I'm just done and I'm on my way up, I'm looking around, just kind of taking note of everything, seeing what kind of fish I see, what the conditions look like, you know, temperature, visibility, everything like that. That way, when I get back up on topside, and I could explain to the guests what I saw, what they have to look forward to, you know, just create a little bit of excitement for them, guys. But yeah, so this tie-in process, it's fun, it's exciting, but you have to be very, very careful when you do it, or you're gonna end up losing a finger or two. So. I'm tied into the bow. We've got a perfect spot for you guys. The visibility is pretty good. It's about 25-30 feet today, loaded with life. There's lots of amberjack hanging out around where I tied in at, angelfish. It looks good. It's nice and warm. For those of you who are not wearing a wetsuit like myself, it's very comfortable. Should be real nice. All right, you ready? Air is good. Pull on your mask, pull on your regulators, you try and stride. Alright, everyone's good. Pull on your mask, pull on your regulators. Alright guys, we have our guests are in the water. Everybody's doing their dive on the Red Sea. So really right now, all there's left to do for me is keep an eye on the bubbles, watch them, make sure nobody shoots up off in the distance, make sure nobody needs help. A lot of the time students will go down, you know, somebody will freak out or they don't have enough weight or, you know, one problem or another. And, you know, as a deckhand, it's kind of our job to watch on the surface for, you know, safety. See if anybody needs any assistance or anything. But yeah, so right now we're really just chilling, just kind of watching bubbles, and once people start getting up on the back of the boat, we'll help them get on the boat, get them reset for the next dive, and we'll do it all over again. Usually we would untie from this spot when we're done, once everybody gets back on the boat, so we can move to our second spot, and we would retie again into a new site. But today, a majority of this group that's diving with us, they're all students. Their instructor recommended we stay on one spot, so that's what we're going to do today. All right, we got our first group of people coming up, so we're going to head to the back and help them back on the boat. once everybody's back on board from their second dive, I wait for Captain Choppy to give me the go-ahead. He gives me the thumbs up. So now I'm about to go back down and untie us off of this wreck, and we could get on out of here. So obviously, unlike the tie-in, the untie is much simpler, a lot easier, a lot slower paced. On the way down, I always undo that yellow swim line, which is usually around the 15-foot mark, though for this trip, the dive instructor asked me to leave it on the surface for the students, so I just left it there. So now, guys, when you go down, that line is going to be under some tension from that boat, depending how rough the day is. So you might not be able to just grab that carabiner and unclip it like that. You might have to have your deckhand up top give you a little bit of slack. Guys, as you're unwrapping this chain, be extremely careful. Do not get your hand anywhere under the chain. If you do, make sure it's as quick as possible. When that chain is under tension, it's going to want to start undoing itself, and when it does, you better hang on to something, because it's going to take off without you, and you are going to be left alone on that wreck if it's on a bad day. There was only a little bit of surface current today pulling, so I was able to, you know, just get it undone and grab onto that rope. But I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you watch your hand placement when you untie. You want to throw those loops over like you are afraid of that chain, and be careful that it doesn't, you know, snap anything off of the wreck and hit you when it comes off. So Carter's up there. He just felt that the boat has come off of the wreck, and he's gonna slowly start pulling me up like a big old fishing line. And yeah, guys, that's really it. I'm gonna get back on the boat. I'm gonna pull the ladders up, and we are going to start making our way back to the dock. All right, we're heading back in for the day. I think we're done. Everything's put up, ladders are put up, all the railings are tied off. We got the dive flag down. We're good. Carter already pulled the chain up, got it all organized and looking pretty. So we're just cruising on the way back right now. Once we get back to the dock, we'll help the guests get all their tanks off the boat. Then we'll clean the boat, we'll rinse it off real quick, make her look nice and pretty for the next day if they got any other dive trips going on. The second dive trip of the day canceled on us, so we no longer have to worry about going on that one. So after this, it'll be done and go home. So it is what it is. All right, day's wrapping up. Dive trip is done. We got Captain Choppy, aka Jason Barrow, best known captain on the Gulf Coast. So before we went home, I just wanted to ask you, like, what are you looking for in a deckhand? Like, what are we doing out here? What's the most important tasks that need to be done?
Most importantly, in our particular industry, kind of what we target is the larger groups, open water checkout divers. So it's real important to be calm with our customers. They're very nervous. First time in the Gulf of Mexico. They're looking for any tidbits, any pointers that you can have. So you really need to have the patience to work with somebody new to scuba diving. Is probably the most important thing. Getting to know them personally, figuring out what they do for a living, kind of take their mind off of the big event that's taking place when they get on the boat with us. Majority of the folks that we take have been on the road for 5 or 6 hours. They've taken several weeks of classes with their dive shop. They go to Vortex Springs and get acclimated and do some of their deeper skills. And then they finish it off with an open water dive from a boat in the Gulf of Mexico, which can be quite intimidating for a lot of folks. And there's a lot of anticipation built up for this trip. So there's a lot of nerves involved. So it's real important not to yell at anybody, to be patient, to be kind, just to get yourself on a people level with it, and just make them feel comfortable. But safety is number one key. Let them know that they're all right. They're not going to die, not going to drown. They're not going to be eaten by anything. It's different than the Caribbean. A lot of people who go dive in the Caribbean, you jump off the boat, you can see the bottom. That's a big thing. Here in the Gulf, most of the time you can't see the bottom when you jump off. So getting them through that initial part, getting them off the surface, and making the customer feel comfortable is probably number one key. Having some type of personality that you can relate with somebody and have a bond with. Diving's a real small community, so it's important to get to know these people. Majority of our marketing is word of mouth. That's the best possible, recommendation is the best thing you can have. So, and punctuality, being clean. Deckhanding's not for everybody. It's difficult, hard work. You got to deal with people in and out. If you've ever worked with the public, you know how challenging it can be. So that's a big thing, and safety and the open-mindedness and realizing when you're getting frustrated and stepping back and remembering what you're doing. You got to have fun doing it. That's you got to have fun doing it. You got to be a people person, and safety is key. Knowing when to say, okay, you should set this one out. Helping them make them feel comfortable. That's probably the biggest thing. Working on a big dive boat that entertains a lot of customers.
Yeah. But what would you say on the technical aspects of, we're tying in, we're messing with 30 pounds of chain sinking straight to the bottom, you got a running boat. What do you think is the number one thing to keep in mind of on the technical aspect?
Keeping your calm. Being comfortable in the water is probably the number one key. Having a good crew. You got to be able to trust the people that you're working with. If the captain's crappy, then they might not drop you on the wreck, and you got to swim a little further. Having the knowledge of where you're at on the wreck when you get there, and knowing where the tie-in spots are is a big thing. And then communication is probably the number one factor in working on a boat. You got to talk to somebody. You got to talk to the captain. Let the captain know what you're doing. Trust your crew members, that they know where you're at, what you're doing at that particular time is probably the key to making it look easy, and being comfortable in the water and knowing what is to be expected. I think is probably some of the key factors in that. Being comfortable in the water.
It's a fun job if you pay attention. You know what you're doing. You be smart about it.
It is.
And you don't lose a finger.
It is. I tell all my deckhands this is the funnest job you'll ever have.
Yeah, 100%.
I usually get a deckhand for 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah, and I always encourage them to continue your education. If you want to, if it's in the maritime industry, go get your captain's license. If it's in the dive industry, learn to become an instructor. If you're a fireman, this isn't a job forever for everybody. If you're retired and you just love diving, hey, this is what you want to do.
This isn't a pay the bills job. This is a pay for the hobbies job.
It is. There's a fine line in the scuba industry from, making a job or just a hobby that you pay for. So
it's kind of the best of both worlds on this side.
It really is. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people. And it's the most fun you'll ever have. If you become an attorney, you'll tell stories about the summer you worked on 100%. One of these boats.
That's fun. Cool, man. Well, Captain Choppy, Panama City Dive Center. Hit them up. Hit them up on Facebook. If you guys want to go out diving, we got all sorts of charters. We got 4-hour, 6-hour offshore, inshore spearfishing trips. I think you guys just started doing overnight trips. We're trying to look forward to.
Yep. We're doing everything from the middle grounds of spearfishing and the Forgotten Coast, and we'll soon be doing multiple day trips to the wrecks off of Destin. We have one of the only vessels in the Gulf that's rated for overnight spearfishing in federal waters and having the capabilities of running beyond 20 miles. So, y'all come see us, guys, especially before it gets cold. Our typical dive season runs through mid-November, and we usually get kicked off about the last week in April. So April through November. Of course, flounder season does start in November. We've had a great flounder run the last few years. So if you get a chance, come check us out. We'd love to have you.
Cool.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I want to go home. So.
You ain't wrong, man.